So, guys, IPOB supporters are currently angry, and me myself am also very angry with the development we are hearing now. Now, it is very shocking that the very place Nnamdi Kanu is from are against him being released from detention. Nnamdi Kanu is a UK citizen, and many expect the UK to facilitate Nnamdi Kanu's release since he's of the British nationality. But it is very shocking now that the UK are now the one fighting against the release of their own citizen, who is Nnamdi Kanu. It's very obvious that Tinubu has liaised with them to make sure that Nnamdi Kanu continues being in detention, which is against the international law, because the UN working group has already ruled in Nnamdi Kanu's favor that Nnamdi Kanu is innocent. But it is sad to see that the UK are now working against Nnamdi Kanu's freedom.
Nnamdi Kanu, in my view, threw a bet and Nigeria took it. Today, he is the most popular political prisoner.
The very
and will
place
end up
Nnamdi Kanu has a
either as a
nationality.
hero or a martyr.
Well, that was much of a time. Before
But
he
to
didn't
his
speak the
credit,
details of the day,
he has
and
forced
before showing what the
Nigeria
UK
and
has
the
done,
world to
there's
discuss
a video
Biafra.
of Soludo I want you to watch. It's an old video, but I want you to
I
listen to this
believe
particular
that
video
keeping him there
and listen to what he said about
does
Nnamdi
not do
Kanu.
Nigeria
And after listening to this
any
particular
good.
video, I'm going to
I
show you what the
believe
UK,
this young man
in
should
collaboration
be
with
released
Tinubu, has done to
and
Nnamdi
released
Kanu.
like yesterday.
Because it seems everyone is now fighting Nnamdi Kanu. What has Nnamdi Kanu done? Well, what you
I will not be
heard is I'm going to
surprised
show you
if
what
he
the UK has
becomes a
done.
subject of the next political campaigns. Just like we dealt with Awolowo, who was convicted and imprisoned of treason, or Gowon, charged with treason, or even Ojukwu himself was forgiven, and so on and so forth. I don't want to make any predictions, but I believe we need to solve this. Because according to Ofodile, this book, quote, he said, the lesson to be learned, if anyone cares to listen, is that the detention of Nnamdi Kanu, no matter for how long, will not stop the agitation of Biafra, end of quote. He further argues that the detention of Uwazurike between 2005 to 2007 helped to radicalize his followers. The same thing happened when the leader of Boko Haram was killed. His followers became more radicalized. Detention of Nnamdi Kanu, I never heard of him before this time, to be quite honest. Never heard of him. I didn't even know about the IPOB, or whatever thing. Until this thing, and you now realize globally it's become an issue and it's become mainstream. Now, and again, quote, he says, this book argues that the idea of a customary government under the Supreme Council of Elders in accordance with customary law enjoys the support among a section of the Igbo. But it is the Biafra or death philosophy of Nnamdi Kanu that found resonance across the length and breadth of the Igbo nation. Therefore, there cannot be a resolution of the Biafran dilemma without a wholesome engagement of the Nnamdi Kanu stroke Uche Mefo faction of IPOB. End of quote. That's what this was.
So this is a statement released by the IPOB to the UK and the British government, telling them that what they have done to Nnamdi Kanu is not fair. And I'm going to read now the details of this particular letter that was issued out by the DOS of the IPOB. And I read, the Directorates of State of Indigenous People of Biafra, DOS, have received with great disappointment a publication made by the Telegraph of UK on Saturday, the 26th of July 2025, with obvious intention to turn the minds of international community and human rights groups, and as well as inside the Biafran people, against IPOB. It is indeed a shame that at this time and age, the British government has continued without let to sponsor campaigns of calumny against a defenseless people, against whom the British, sponsored an annihilating genocide in 1967 to 1970. The British government is still obsessed with the Igbo people and the entire Biafra people. They are angry and disappointed that we survived their evil onslaughts of 1967 to 1970 and still focused on our rights to a sovereign Biafra nation today. This can only be the explanation why a British tabloid just like the BBC would be interested in deception and falsehood. The clearest evidence of the hatred to the Biafran people and IPOB is that they deliberately refused to publish the information given to them by Mazi Abayim, the IPOB Europe Continental Rep, who responded to a questionnaire the Telegraph sent to him for response. You can imagine what the UK and the BBC outlets, including the Telegraph, are doing to Nnamdi Kanu. Informations that shouldn't be concealed. The Telegraph are now concealing it, including the BBC. These informations are needed in order to facilitate Nnamdi Kanu's release. But the UK government are now working hand in hand with the Telegraph and the BBC, and they have refused to release these informations, which will facilitate the release of Nnamdi Kanu as a UK citizen. What wrong has Nnamdi Kanu done? What's wrong? And it is very, very embarrassing that the Telegraph are the ones doing this. Well, let's continue. These people killed and starved millions of our children and women to a cruel death because of crude oil. It is on record that the Christian and Anglican British government sponsored genocide on Christians and Anglican Igbo and Biafran people using Muslims and Islamic jihadists. We are aware that the British government is a bit jittery of our recent diplomatic engagements and successes recorded by the DOS on the Biafra Restoration Freedom and Liberation projects. They should, however, understand that they no longer hold the monopoly of information dissemination. The DOS will no longer take the deliberate actions of certain government and foreign interest-sponsored media houses and journalists, whether locally or internationally, whose set objective is to tarnish the hard-earned image of the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB, likely be they in Nigeria, in the UK, or anywhere in the world, who will defame and falsely attribute state-sponsored criminal acts to IPOB. IPOB leadership demands, therefore, an unreserved apology from the Telegraph of UK or consider the likelihood of a legal action against them. A word they say is enough for the wise. This is the IPOB message to the UK government and the Telegraph for failing to disseminate informations that are supposed to be disseminated in order to facilitate Nnamdi Kanu's release. Because what the Telegraph are doing now, it's pure hatred. It's pure hatred for one of their citizens. Because Nnamdi Kanu is a UK citizen and he has every right to enjoy the rights other UK citizens are enjoying. Well, at this point in time, I'm going to like us to what you feel about this in the comment section below. Do what to like this video, share this video, and hit the subscribe button below for more trending updates.